So first of all, we're going to begin working on some single form practice. And a lot of people like to say that the ward off posture is the most important posture in Tai Chi. And I beg to differ with that, but I'll start there anyway. All right, we're going to do ward off. And what we do is called single form practice or solo form practice. And what that means, I'll take the ward off form and I'll like start breaking it down into various pieces. We'll do 6 pieces. And we call those 6 pieces the methods of change. All right, so we're going to show you how the form goes through these sequence of changes, and then we'll do it repetitively. Like I was saying, family, the ward off form and also other forms, we break those forms down into 6 pieces or 6 components. All right, and we do those repetitively over and over again. One of the things that's very ideal for this type of practice is requires a small space because there's not any moving around. Also, if you're pressed for time, you can focus on one particular practice, one particular thing, and you get more out of your practice because you're condensing your energy into one thing. All right? So let's jump into it. We want to always begin with our feet about shoulders width apart. When I say shoulders width apart, I'm not talking about the outside of my shoulders like a kung fu stance, right? It's more narrow, so the inside of your shoulder gate. Here's a way you can go about measuring that. One foot straight ahead, the other foot I turn it sideways, and then I pivot out on the ball of my foot. That's going to be about the width of your inside shoulder. All right, so keep that in mind. And then you'll get used to doing it. So feel your feet resting on the floor. Allow your knees, pay attention to the words, allow your knees to softly, gently relax. In other words, no straight legs. If you feel 4 ounces of weight added to your tailbone, your knees will bend just a little bit, and that's what you want, all right? So here we are. Tip of our sacrum is slightly tucked under, elongating our spinal column. The tip of our crown point is straight up, and family, no chicken neck. You got to have this chin slightly tucked in. So not out like this, all right? Keep these things in mind. And we're going to get into it. So starting in the ready position, Sifu Fred calls it the bear, right? So accomplish your bear stance or bear posture and begin with the breath out. As you exhale, sink down a little bit further. Crown point is going up and we're shifting over towards our left side. Our arms are coming up in front of Dantian. My right foot is pivoting on the ball of the foot, pivoting. I step out to my heel, I sink down, I shift over to my right side, and I step out, heel first, left foot. Notice, family, we hadn't even gotten to number 1 yet. So here's number 1. As my foot begins to go down, I sink down. Notice my shoulders are not squared. Blade your shoulders off to the side. That's 1. 2, inhale coming up. I'm rising up on this back leg, so I'm straightening my back leg. 2. On 3, I turn my waist back towards the front, coming out with my ward off at the same time. That's 3. Okay? I'll show you again. 1 is down. 2 is straight up, paying attention to my shoulders, not turning. Turn on 3. Here's a ward off. Now 4 has 2 very important details here. 4, you want to sink down while simultaneously stretching your arms apart. That's 4. Number 5 is begin to allow your body to drift forward. 6 is to release or let go. This hand or this palm is directly across from my elbow. Notice the fingers are open and you're extending outward. You inhale, pulling back in to repeat the process. Turning. 1, down, crown point up. 2, straight up. 3 is turning, coming out with your ward off. 4 is stretch forward and backwards here while sinking simultaneously. 5 is drifting forward. Pay attention when you move forward or in any direction, make sure your head's not beginning to tilt first, okay? So you still want to have a vertically erect spinal column. With your 5 and 6 is to let it go. Let's say you don't want to let it go. You want to hold on to the ward off, because oftentimes we want to do that. We don't want to let it go. So say we come here, instead of letting it go, we just hold on to it. Then you can just play with your ward off a bit. You can turn. This is the rotating ward off. So rotating. You go forward and backwards, backwards and forwards. You rotate in either clockwise, counterclockwise direction. So you make it a nice ward-off practice. And as I said earlier, no large space required. Now here's another important thing. Notice this is my left arm forward. We want to have right arm forward as well. So we want to do both sides. All right? You don't want to just do one side and don't do the other. All right? So that's ward-off practice. If you have any questions, you know how to get those questions answered. You have to ask those questions, all right? So make sure you ask those questions, family. Sifu Lester checking out. Thank you.